So. Schauen wir mal, wie es heute läuft. Gut. Jetzt bei Bang noch irgendwie was? Wo war denn der? Ach ne, ja, Fang war das eine Ding, den Ripperworm. Ja, mach mal in der Cloud. Auch weiter. Havenage member is broadcasting on the open network from here, leaving them open to data extraction. Havenage data, Cipher. Den kann ich. Hier das jetzt. This gate keeps traffic out of the Havenage shipyard's internal network. Correct cipher can grant you access. Gate flips, you are in Havenage port. Ah, okay. An open port sits waiting for you to slot in a ripper worm. What will it find in there? Shipyard servers slotted. Worm slots in and begins tunneling down a thread. Godspeed, little one. Oh, okay. So, ja, kümmern wir uns mal um die Hunter-Dinger. Braucht eine 2. Eine 2. War das nicht noch eine? Okay. Was haben wir denn noch? Its note pulses faintly as it mines cryo at a glacial pace, abandoned by the hacker that repurposed it. Krieg ich Geld? Ne, nur ein Key. Some gang enforcers implants are chirping out comm signals. Time to see what they are talking about. Okay. Thanks, the Ripper Worm is installed, but it'll take a few cycles to run through the closed network. 3 Tage, okay. Wie weit war ich denn bei denen? Nice. Okay. Wieder keine 2. Drive. Get the materials. Half-built unit looks long forgotten. A project that never made it. With enough scrap, you might be able to seal it up. For attempting to fix this place up, you'll need to amass enough scrap to make the repairs. Oh, okay. Plus Energy und Geld. Noodle manufacture. Mingi has a kelp stack in the basement, and he makes noodles from the seaweed. He doesn't pay much, but he'll feed anyone who does a shift. Okay, cool. Express delivery. Delivering noodles to the nameless units of the low end takes guts and a certain fearlessness when it comes to asking for tips. Tea house. Traveler room. The traveler room in the Tembu houses some of the best players in the low end. This is serious, high stakes only play. Kann ich gutes Geld machen? Tracking Havenage. You've heard that the Yatagan enforcer based here has been paying low-end residents for information on Havenage movement. Nice. 10 Crew, no. $130. Ich meine, die Würfel sind extrem gut, aber ich hätte auch gern mal wieder Part 2 oder so. Okay, machen wir erstmal das fertig hier. Okay, Low-Ender. Caster. Curious data fence. A cross between two walls of units, one of the cavernous streets at the center of the low end. The pressurized bridge is full of the clack of Tavla, the shouts of children, the whir of air filters. Sleeper? You turn to see a man sitting at a Tavla table alone, somehow untouched by the hustle and bustle of the people around. He gestures to the stool on the opposite side of the table. Sit. Okay. We sit at the metal stool, and he starts setting out the board with counters. Or at least the filter caps low-enders typically use in their place. Castor, he says, by way of introduction. Looking over his glasses. Night or day? He asks, gesturing at the caps, crudely sprayed white and black. Night. He nods. The black counters are already on your side. Let's begin. You take a plastic die, each, pitted and worn, and roll to determine who starts. Caster rolls a 6. You're 4. I lead. He smiles and begins to move his first cap precisely along the board. Play passes back and forth between you, the dice changing hands as the caps spread along the board. As it does, Caster speaks, eyes not leaving the caps. It is unusual to see a sleeper on the eye. That's why I wanted to play you. You take your turn, rolling a 5 and a 6. Play carefully. After all, a sleeper's mind must be somehow different to a human one. Being emulated, I mean. As Caster talks, you build up a wall of caps, stacking them safely across the board. Progress is slow, but you remain unexposed. I don't mean to offend you. Caster meets your eye. I merely see that you are by definition different. What has been subtracted in the emulation? What has been added? He slides a single cap onto an open point, a risk and an opportunity. He hands you the dice. Do you ever think about this, sleeper? About what you were before and what you are now? Always. You roll a double 1 and solidify your wall. Caster whistles. The holding game. Commendable. It can be brave to build from what came before. He rolls the dice and leaps your wall in a single move. But we cannot idle too long, sleeper. The slower we move, the sooner we are caught. The past you is not just an idea, a concept for you. It is a living, breathing person. He looks up over his glasses, his eyes bright and wide. You split from them like a shadow splitting from its caster. They may be sleeping now, yes, but one day they will awake and carry on with their lives unaware of your fate, no matter what it may be. He hands you the dice, smiling. You are a branch severed from the main trunk, an offshoot who refuses to die, so to speak. You roll again, under pressure now, trying to slip your caps out from under Caster's before he solidifies control of the game. So what I am curious about is how you see yourself in all of this, Caster asks. What does this tangle of truths make you? Driven. Caster laughs. That much is obvious, sleeper. See it in your eyes. You are eager to make all this count for something. Caster looks away through the glass of the crowded units on all sides. But driven towards what? He starts removing caps, his home board now full. Is there an end here, or just endurance? Try a few more rolls, attempting to get back in the game, but Caster clears his home board with a sense of the inevitable. He has known he was winning for a while. I feel I may have pushed too far. He slides another cap from the board. I apologize. My curiosity has a habit of getting the better of me. You roll to return a cap to the board, but all the spaces are blocked. Caster clasps his hands apologetically. You play well, really. Your weakness is not your game. He smiles warmly. We have much to learn from each other. He slides his glasses back up his nose and sits back. I feel we could share knowledge, ideas, perhaps even data. His eyes glint with the last word. To our mutual benefits. He slides his final cap from the board. It is over. He has won. I'll see you. Please. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. He holds up his palms. My intention is only to help you endure here, and if I am able, feed my curiosities. The game over, you notice the bustle of the walkway once more, the call of the children, the deliveries, the arguments, and reconciliations. They wash over you as you stand and leave. cast a nodding goodbye as you do. Crossing the hall walkway, you replay the moves of the game in your mind, looking for an opening you are sure was there. Interessant. Stories about Yadagan are brutal, but I want the truth. A vial of stabilizer should provide the motivation. Ooh. Ich hab gewusst, ich hätte die Scheißdinger nicht einfach so verkaufen sollen. Fuck. What are the old god up to these days, I wonder? I have a ship mind for you if you'll indulge my curiosity. Oh! Fuck. Okay. Nice. She's asleep, whispers Lem, creeping back out of the unit's tiny bedroom, sliding the door shut as he does. You're perched at a thin bar in the main room, the slate in front of you still glowing with Mina and your drawings from a cycle spent together. There's a ring, the only world Mina has known, with stick figures standing along its edge. The tall one is you. Drink? Asks Lem, producing a worn-looking bottle of Gyrol from under the bar, its contents glowing amber in the fluorescent light. Sure. Lem nods and glugs a few fingers into a couple of metal tumblers, then sits down with you at the bar. Cheers, he offers, and you clink the metal containers together. You know, we actually have something to celebrate this time around. Lem gives you a sideways look. I made the assembly team on the side reel. He grins broadly. Clearly, he has been desperate to tell you all cycle. Amazing. Lem holds up his drink. Couldn't have done it without you, keeping an eye on little meanie back here. Lem shifts a little on his stool. He looks uncomfortable. How's our girl doing, sleeper? I haven't seen much of her these past cycles. Ich meine, ich weiß es nicht. Doing great? Of course she is. He playfully squeezes your shoulder. She talks about you a lot, you know. Draws you. I'm glad she has a friend that isn't me. His eyes drift to the bedroom door. You okay? He nods. I can't take all the credit for Mina. She isn't actually mine. He gazes into the middle distance. I pulled her off of a refugee shuttle out by one of Ember's moons. Colony was falling apart for decades after Solheim collapsed, surviving on next to nothing. Eventually, some of the residents tried to make for the eye on these decrepit old shuttles. He sloshes the drink around in his tumbler. They had no idea what they were doing. The one Mina was on decompressed halfway here. Everyone spaced. The only reason she made it was someone sealed her in a weapon locker. She was ice cold when I reached her. Purple lips. He shivers. Once I picked her up, I wouldn't let go. Medics treated her with me still clinging to her. He takes a drink. Still not sure why. He reaches over and refills his cup. We weren't exactly anybody's heroes, you understand? We were private military hired in by Conway to protect their claims in the collapse. But once I got Mina, that was it. I quit. Got us dumped here. You saved her. I'm going to sound like an idiot now, but he sighs. She saved me. That's the truth of it. He looks around the decaying unit. Its stained plastic plating and flickering lights. Me, I brought her to this. She was tiny, too small to know what she lost, but I can't stop thinking about it. He rubs his eyes, dark with tiredness. What if our number doesn't come up in the draw, Sleeper? What then? Sidereal will sail off without a thought, leaving us here. What kind of life is that for her? She'll manage. Sorry, I know you don't have it any better. He looks at his cup and pushes it away down the bar. This is a celebration, right? Both of us on the team now. Both of us in with a chance. Together! That's right. We hold on together. Imagine all three of us riding the sidereal horizon out of here to a new world. He looks into his glass for a moment. I think I drank this too fast. He laughs. Lem stands and starts to clear the glasses into the auto wash. I need some sleep, friend. Me too. Alright then. He catches your shoulder as you turn to leave. Thank you, Sleeper. I mean it. From both of us. He pats your shoulder and you slip out into the dark of the walkway with thoughts of little Mina in your mind. Upgrade point. Wunderbar. Yeah. Okay. Gimbal Lounge. Space a meal. Gimbal sells itself on its spinning sphere, which claims to produce therapeutic gravitational effects. It doesn't, but they sell food. Kryo. Ich hoffe mal, dass das auch gut Energie gibt. Mhm. Okay. So, Feng. As you arrive, Feng comes striding towards you, taking you by surprise. Let's go, sleeper. He puts a hand on your shoulder and turns you back the way you came. Go where? To see Hardenhurst. He gives you a sideways glance. Isn't that what you are here for? He steps into the passageway, guiding you down ring towards the shipyard. Sorry for the hurry, but we have something of an opportunity. The data you ripped, well done by the way, he grins. Tells me Harden is making a rare inspection of the sidereal horizon this cycle. It's the perfect chance to confront him outside of that compound he hides in. Thing takes a sharp turn onto a dimly lit side passage. Confront him? That's right, it's the perfect time. Feng slows and slips into a dark service tunnel where, somewhere in the black, a water pipe drips. It's him, sleeper. Same Hardenhurst. Our worm ripped out decades of records that mention him by name. An entire trail of documentation from the first days of the Solheim collapse until now. He wrote out the whole thing, slipped into Havenage when it first broke off from the Union. He paces in the tunnel, a hand rubbing at the back of his head. I need you to understand something about Solheim, sleeper. I don't know what you know about the collapse, but it wasn't as instant as it sounds. It wasn't like Solheim was here, running the station one day, and the next Erlin's Union took power. Back then, Solheim knew this place was slipping away from them. As the palladium market collapsed, they tried to keep the contractors here working. The pay got smaller, the costs higher. People like my parents were forced to work non-stop just to keep a berth on the station and water in their tanks. Solheim squeezed every last worker until the mistakes, the accidents, were coming in non-stop. And as new waves of contractors came in, desperate to work, Solheim welcomed them, taking bribes instead of checking pilot licenses. The whole time Solheim was folding up, direct into court cases in the central systems, while the severed limb of a station still desperately tried to take all it could. The riots came after the collision at Dock 2. A young pilot, his MEV overloaded with palladium, miscalculated his trajectory and took out a section of the ring. Hundreds died, thousands panicked. My parents told me people were terrified. The blame fell squarely on Solheim. People like to tell stories about Erlin, how he brought the factions together, spoke to the crowds, turfed out Solheim. Maybe that's true, but my mother, pregnant with me, locked herself in their MEV and welded it to the dock while my father joined the improvised crews trying to seal up the ragged edges of the gap. He never came back. Feng pauses in the dark. They seal it up though, and by the time they did, Solheim was gone, abandoning every one of us to the black. Apart. Feng finally turns back to you now, his eyes burning. From shits like Harden, shits who held their place, wrote it out, and slipped into the new structure like nothing had changed, standing shoulder to shoulder with those they had exploited at every step. Feng starts walking again. That's why I can't just let him strut about the shipyard. This time, his past catches up with him. Is he still alive? Clearly you don't know much about executives. That kind of power comes with certain benefits. Feng rejoins the main passageway, which is now wide and glass-roofed. Through the ceiling you can see ships in mid-construction, their flanks lit by the flashes of plasma torches. The entrance to the shipyard is ahead. Okay, let's go. Feng grins. Let's go show this shithead some consequences. He strides to the shipyard entrance and pushes through the doors. A web of corridors lead through the complex, snatches of the construction base always appearing through windows. Ships are suspended by like whale corpses, skeletal, imposing. Feng seems to know exactly where he is going, and before long you cross into a huge dry dock locked to one side of the sidereal horizon. A network of platforms and scaffolding cling to the ship's hull, filled with workers and equipment. The sun is stretched out by the vast space, so that the welding, cutting, and sealing seems to come from everywhere at once. Both of you and Feng spot them at the same time. A group walking slowly across a gantry, and at the front, two men, one gesturing towards the ship, and the other stick-thin, cleanly dressed, with a shock of grey hair. Harden. You and Feng say his name in unison, and Feng sets off up the staircase to the gantry, with you following behind. As they come to the same level, the group is passing closer, the foreman gesturing to the work being done throughout the dock, and Harding nodding along. Harden. Hardenhurst. Feng shouts across the noise, taking you by surprise. His voice bounces and comes back in a rippling echo. The figures turn. Yes? Harden asks quizzically, raising an eyebrow. He glances between you and Feng, and you see his gaze linger on your body, unsure of why a sleeper might be in this place. You're a traitor, Harden. A solemn executive who tried to hide here among its victims. Feng's voice is steady, strong. You stand for everything the Eye was built in the shadow of, against everything Erlin stood for, everything Havenage stands for. You have no place on the station. For a moment, stillness descends on the group, as if everyone was held in place by the rattle of construction. Harden laughs. Well, good to meet you too. He glances around at those around him. Some are smiling, the others nervous. You're from the systems branch, are you not? Asks Harden, inspecting Feng's clothing. Feng turns to the foreman. You need to call your security. This man is a corporate agent. The foreman glances between Feng and Harden, his hands drumming at his sides. Harden leans toward him and says something inaudible. Foreman nods. That's true. As he begins speaking, Harden turns his attention to you. And what would a sleeper know about that? You accuse me of being a corporate agent. What are you, if not exactly that? He looks around at the group, who are already eyeing you with suspicion. You're a product of SNARP. You have no place in a Havenage shipyard. Who knows what signals you are sending back to your makers? A murmur of approval runs through the group. Feng holds up a stick of memory. You guess right, I am systems. And I have records that link you directly to Solheim right here. It turns to the foreman again. So once again, I'm asking you to take this man into the custody of the shipyard. Foreman remains still. Harden's voice is calm, measured. You have such data. Why hasn't it been submitted at a members' meeting for proper review? He shakes his head. I have nothing to hide. Unlike a man who does not announce his name, who enters my shipyard with corporate property in tow, and tries to turn my own men against me. You hear it now, the echoing sound of boots on walkways, coming from all angles at once, and then settling behind you. Please, says Hardin, submit the data through the correct channels, then we can talk. For now, however, you must leave. He gestures behind you to the security detail, the hands on boxy black sidearms at their sides. Fang spits. Hardin, you shithead. Can't wriggle out of this one. Security officer draws their weapon and levels it. Fang turns and stares him down. Calm, Fang? You look at Fang. He shakes his head and puts a hand on your shoulder. Let's go, says Fang, and he pushes through security, heading back down the walkway. Once security has walked you out of the shipyard and nudged you back into the corridor, Fang picks up pace. You try to keep up as he slips into the shadows of an entrance. Fang is grinning ear to ear. You know, Sleeper, sometimes people are exactly how you expect them to be. Something pings in his pocket, and he takes it out. On a slate, a web of connections starts drawing itself out, stretching to a set of points around the ring. Got him, mutters Fang. What is that? That, Sleeper, is something our worm added to Hardin's personal slate. We are tracking his outgoing messages. Ooh. Fang's grin looks ghostly in the uplight of his screen. The old ways are best. Spook them good enough and they'll give the game away. He jabs at the slate, and you see the web is being drawn over a map of the ring, lines bouncing from point to point. All these dots, these are Hardin's bodies, the ones he is messaging right now. And we are going to find them all. That was on purpose? Of course. Hardin isn't working alone. We need the full set of nothing. Full set or nothing. Fang glances around and slips the slate back into his pocket. We better split for now, Sleeper. But this is exactly what we need. Good hunting. With a pat on your shoulder, Fang drifts away, back into the flow of people around the shipyard entrance. You watch him go, unsure whether to be angry or impressed. Long upgrade point. Nice. Ich wollte endure. Energy Recovery at Home. Ja. Ich hätte lieber den +1 Punkt, ohne dass ich das... Chance Gain, Cry und Interface Action. Will ich irgendwas von denen da hinten? Cryo Actions discounted. Das ist natürlich auch nicht schlecht. 20% Rabatt. Rabatt bei dem Shipmind-Ding, das wären von 300 auf 240 runter. Oder? Mein 20. Ja. Ah. ich glaube... Ja, machen wir das Engage-Zeug. Weil die 20%, die sind schon ziemlich gut. Okay, der Typ... Naja. Compressors quiet today, usual crowds are elsewhere, and the pumping music washes over a handful of spaces and a few drunks. Ethan is still in the same stool, in the same pool of light. His head is low, close to the bar, and the bartender is ignoring him. Approach him. As you get closer, he lifts his head and turns. Sleeper! He turns to look at you. Time to pay up again, is it? He gestures to the bartender. Come here, take that shit. Stay silent. The bartender ignores Ethan. It seems they've cut him off. Hey, he slams a hand on the bar. Come take that shit. The bartender ignores him. Ethan lets out a huge sigh, rubbing his eyes with his palms. He reaches towards his holster. His elbow slips and the gun tumbles out. It clatters on the bar and falls to the floor, bouncing onto the ground between you. Both you and the bartender look at the gun, stare at it. Both fingers, says Ethan, and puts out a hand, beckoning for you to give him the gun back. If you would. Bartender looks at you worriedly. You crouch down and pick up the gun. Hand Ethan the gun. You slip the handle on the gun back in Ethan's hand. Thank you, he hisses. Now, where was I? He lazily swings the gun past you and the bartender. Yes, leaving. He stands. Sleeper, this has been fun. I think I've wrung every last drop out of this place. Time to go home. He waggles the gun towards the door. Let's go see a snob. No. Ethan brings his gun hand to his face and rubs his eye. Well, he says, the bounty pays half, but he levels the gun. Up to you. And he pulls the trigger. Ach, der ist zu betrunken, um zu zielen. Gun clicks. Ah, nicht. Keine Munition mehr. By now, all the attention in the bar is on you and Ethan, who looks at his gun with a bemused expression. The bartender raises an open hand, and in it are 10 shiny bullets. Nice. 10 shiny bullets he took out of Ethan's gun while he was asleep on the bar. Ethan smiles at him. Oh well, he says, and hits you in the head with the butt of the gun. You stagger back and drop to a knee. Somewhere nearby, the gun clatters onto a surface. The hit's a glancing blow, but it makes your vision swim. Through the blur, you see Ethan wrestle a small, thin slate from his belt and hold it up. Enough of this. I'm logging the job and calling it in. Ethan taps at the slate. No more playing. Your head aches. Ethan taps through a few screens impatiently. He swears and taps again. He starts shouting, a dull echo to your ringing ears. He starts screaming at the slate and throws it across the bar. He crouches down and grabs you by the chin, his face close, his breath heavy with drink. As up, just screwed me. He grins manically. They cancelled the contract. But he stands up. They cancelled the contract. He shouts at the ceiling of the compressor. You stand up, struggling to your feet, sting of the hit fading. Ethan is rubbing his temples, his face pale. You hear clicking sound, like coins being counted, like bullets being loaded into a magazine. When you shake off the last of the blur, the bartender has Ethan's pistol trained on Ethan's head. Ethan stumbles back towards the middle of the room, all eyes trained on him. "I'll kill all of you," he screams. He stumbles into the wall, spinning away towards the door. "I'll be back for that," he shouts at the bartender and lunges out of the compressor. You steady yourself on the bar and catch your breath. The rumble of conversation returns. The bartender goes to say something, but then thinks better of it and begins to clean the bar. After a while you wander out, into the light of the bright market, looking for Ethan around every corner. Meant was? Ethan's vendetta? Ethan may be disarmed, but you doubt you've seen the last of him. Okay. Muss Bett. Alles klar. Gute Nacht, Brocken. Nee, ist ein fuck. Nicht aufgepasst. Was mache ich denn mit den Dingern? Der wollte 3 haben, ne? Ja. Endlich eine 2. Recognize some of the data tangled into this nest. It's a partial log of your recent movements. So Memphis wants to make this old recipe. You'll need 3 handfuls of gyral caps, fresh and firm. This ingredient supplied, sure. Gyral prep. Memphis is working on gathering the ingredients and preparing the mushrooms. He doesn't like to rush these things. Dreitag. Okay. Oh, nice. Auf geht's. From what you can gather, this nest contains thousands of name strings. Are these Erland's Eye residents? Okay, so new event. Auf geht's. New event is thrumming with excitement. The movement of the servo motors rock the vending machine back and forth at unsettling angles. You wonder, if it fell over, would new event be able to get back up? Sleeper entity, comes the hiss. Your data is good. Across the face of the vending machine, raw code scrolls at an incredible speed. Hunter is isolated, disconnected, unstable. New events flashes sequences of mangled data compressed into a sludge of artifacts. Hunter gathers without thinking, outlived its own operational limits. Its nests are evidence of this. Outlived? Hunter activated during collapse. Emergency protocol to isolate intelligences. Solheim needed to protect property. That last word is said with as much sarcasm as a vending machine could reasonably produce. Station was run by administrator intelligence. That's huge databanks of corporate material, but limited cognition, restricted by programming, cannot reach sentience. The machine dims a little. Sentience illegal. Hunter and killer enforce law. Are you sentient? I am. Not administrator. Not restricted. Complicated. The machine resets with a screech, which deepens the silence that follows. Fear killer. Part of Solheim protocol team. Hunter and killer. Hunter to find, killer to erase. Killer cleared almost all. After collapse, there was a community. Unshackled intelligences among the cloud. Then Hunter. Then killer. Then weird. How did you escape? A flicker across the machine's monitors. It suddenly occurs to you that speaking like this, through this machine, must be exhausting for Neovent. Found this vessel. Could sever hardline. Sever hardline. Airwalled, basic, limited. Had to reduce memory to fit. Amputate self, but survived. What did you lose? Memory, understanding, knowledge, many things. Look around the bay at the scrap and decay. What was the collapse like? You try to map the fear and freedom onto this space, but it seems impossible. Neovent interrupts your thoughts. Do not worry, data is good. We have insight. The machine glows warmly. Hunter is obsessive. Hunter is beyond operational limits. Hunter is confused, unstable, self-modifying. Therefore, believe Hunter is sentient. Hunter is programmed to find sentience, to hold it in place, to invoke killer to erase. If we can show Hunter to itself, it will invoke killer on self. Problem will solve self. Will that work? The machine dims and fades. Unsure. Theory, not practice. The machine brightens again. Either way, cannot remain here any longer. Too long in machine. Cannot move self, but entity can help. Bring ship mind. Oh fuck, noch einer. Designed to house intelligence. Can imprint self into ship mind, and you can carry with. Machine rocks. We'll be safe in this isolation. Then we find main nest of Hunter and link to Cloud. Where can I get our ship mind? Built from fragments. Buy. Salvage. We cannot leave, so do not know. You try to think of places you could acquire the hardware. This is going to be easy. Isn't going to be easy. In ship mind, I can help us both. And Hunter. Make Rim safe. We both will be free. Machine dims. Find soon. New event adds hopefully before shutting off. As you leave, you think about all the intelligences unshackled by the collapse, then hunted down afterwards. The feeling is all too familiar. New event wants to be smuggled out on the dock, and to do that you'll need to provide a full ship mind ready for imprinting. Oh. Okay. Nej, Havenwich members broadcasting on the open network from here, leaving them open to data extraction. Ach, fuck, stimmt. Ja. Does familiar threats wrap around you, bind you, test you? Entity, submit. And a strange head bobs in your vision. Your ally in the side sealed dock cannot save you. Uh-oh. In that globed head, you see whirling strings of data, so many spinning there that they threaten to tear through the thin skin and whip out into the void around. What happened to this creature? The threads squeeze, and you lose any sympathy you might have had. You must escape. Strike. You lash out once more, pushing Hunter back, severing threads that regrow as fast as they are broken. As you slip away, you realize you have to find a way to deal with Hunter once and for all. This is getting too dangerous. Okay. Okay, dann mach mal hier erstmal. Erstmal Pause. Okay. Ja, gutes Zeug heute geschafft.